Alright, welcome back to another Embrace Destiny video, everyone. Thank you so much for clicking that link and joining us. Today we are heading back into the Crucible, specifically into competitive, and we're going to talk a little bit about my path to Legend. So if you're unfamiliar, I have a bunch of videos here on the channel where I've been pursuing legendary ranking in the competitive Crucible. I think I'm going to have to change that name though, because I am really not certain I can get to Legend with the Crucible the way it is. So let's talk a little bit about that path, about what I've learned. The last time I made a video of this kind, I was actually just barely completed one step in the Luna's Howl quest, and that's been the main goal, is to get the Luna's Howl. If you're probably familiar, but there's a lot of different steps, and the most challenging one, arguably, is to reach the Fabled ranking in the Crucible. That's the third highest ranking. And it's challenging because in competitive, your rank only goes up if you win. So you have to win, a significant number of games in order to reach it. And it can be really frustrating when you're playing well, but you're still losing. So let's talk a little bit about what I've learned. I don't want to sit back and talk about it, make complaints about the game, but we all agree that competitive is a little bit broken right now. If you haven't been playing it at all, matchmaking is still pretty bad. There's some hit detection issues with certain subclasses. Certain weapons are all over the place, and some would argue they're a little too easy to use, but I would counter that. And the biggest problem is the best way to win competitive is to play as a team. And when you play as a team, you generally play against other teams. So it is very, very challenging. But I feel like I've improved quite a lot since the last video I made, so let's talk about that. What have I learned? Well, I've learned some general Crucible tips, trial by fire. I mean, it's called the Crucible after all. I've really learned, and I believe I've improved my decision-making in games and my gameplay. So you can check out videos from YouTubers like Nkooch or Cammy Cakes, and they give general and really some really specific good tips on how to improve yourself in the Crucible. The main takeaways that I have here from playing are, first of all, you got to keep your movement unpredictable. You got to enter into engagements not at head level, okay? Every Guardian basically is the same height, so if you walk around a corner, you're perfect headshot material right there. Next, like I said, keeping your movement unpredictable also applies when you're in the middle of combat. Often we all have a tendency to kind of tunnel vision onto an enemy. We find him and then we start strafing to the left or to the right. And that could be fine in some engagements, but it makes it predictable as to where you're going to go. It makes it very easy for your enemy to line up your headshot. So try to make it unpredictable. A lot of times I'll jump around a corner, I'll shoot somebody while I'm in the air, I'll land, I'll move in one direction, maybe I'll change to another. These are things to consider. Flanking, always good, as I just did here. The enemy didn't even know I was over there. It can be very challenging, though, when not only is the radar quite active, but if you're playing by yourself, if you're solo queuing, it's really difficult to know what your teammates are going to do. And I had this problem for the longest time, where I didn't really have people to team up with, so I went in solo queuing. I joined the team chat, but nobody else did, and so I tried to anticipate what my teammates were doing. I actually stopped trying to flank for quite a while because it was just, I thought, oh, he's pushing into point A, I'll circle around. And then he just completely changed directions and I was left alone. My teammates were, had other ideas. So one tip that I would suggest to you if you really don't want to team up with anyone is find a Guardian, become his best friend, and treat them like you are their shadow, their ghost. I was running with a pulse rifle for the longest time, and I basically just ran behind another Guardian and tried to shoot at whatever they were shooting at. And that is really effective. Team shotting in this game is still very strong, even with the new meta. It's a bit better, but it's still very strong. So you can usually follow up or start an engagement and have your teammate finish them off very easily. Next, you'll probably notice here some really good clips with the Wardcliff coil. I got just destroyed by this gun one too many times, and I thought, why is it so powerful right now? Let me give it a shot. And I realized the thing with the Wardcliff coil is it's like a heavy blade barrage. So the hunters have their blade barrage. It's kind of like, I keep making comparisons, but essentially it allows them to spread projectiles of damage over a fairly wide area, and they can continue to, they aim at one part when the super activates and they turn slightly and they're able to extend that range. You can do that with Wardcliff Coil. If you're firing at an enemy, an earlier clip you saw in this video, I turned almost completely 90 degrees to the left, and I was able to take out another enemy because the rocket fires multiple volleys. So that's something to consider as well. It's a little, I would say it's a little cheap, maybe. It's a little on the unskillful side, but honestly, it's effective, and it's a heavy weapon. What do you want? I mean, I'm just effectively increasing its blast radius. I wouldn't think it's as cheap as maybe running with certain weapons, but that's here or there. The next challenging thing, and the next thing is, as I said, you really got to try and play as a team. Having people in your team, there's so many benefits to it. Obviously, you know where they're going to go if they have good call-outs. You have assistance. You can give information that you have. Often I would join the team chat in when I was solo queuing, and I would just practice my callouts. I knew no one was listening because no one had joined the chat, but it was good for me to just practice that, get to know the map better, try to condense meaningful information into a short, efficient amount of time. And yeah, having teammates is good. Another kind of another side benefit actually of having teammates, I find, is that it really lowers your frustration. So competitive can be really, really frustrating. I'm a pretty patient, easygoing, relaxed guy, but competitive just drives me crazy with all the problems. And when you're playing by yourself, you get mad at your teammates. Why didn't you take the point? Or why didn't you finish that guy off? And the answer is they didn't know because you're solo queuing or whatever, they made a mistake. But if you're playing in a team with people in your party, in your team chat, I don't know about you, but it immediately humanizes, obviously, your teammates, and it makes me less prone to just straight up getting, enraged by them. I just found that as soon as I joined up with people, I could say, well, why didn't you do this? And, they'd explain it, and we'd be fine, and we'd move on. There was no, shadowy rage. And that's the thing. When you solo queue, you're playing by yourself entirely. Yeah, you're on a team, but they don't know you. They don't know what you're doing. They don't anticipate your needs, and they don't follow through with anything that you've set up. So it can be really annoying. Now, you're probably thinking, well, I don't want to solo queue, or maybe I don't want to be in a team, or maybe I can't find the right team. I hear you. My clan is small and we're growing, but most of the players in the clan are not interested. They're not really interested in competitive PvP, and I don't blame them. So what I've been doing is I've been loading up LFG. I'm on the Xbox, so that's what I've been using. And I create a post, and my post pretty much says the same thing every time. I'm chasing Luna's Howl. I've just reached heroic ranking, and I'm looking for calm, patient, communicative teammates. And that may sound silly, but honestly, I think it's just because I'm an old man. There's a lot of the community that, I don't know, maybe they're not used to playing as a team, and they're not really effective with their communication or their call-outs, but it's kind of been a trial by fire just finding a team that works for me, that has good communication. I'm by no means perfect, so let me give some quick tips. If you're looking to team up with people, and you're looking to have a better experience. So first of all, you got to remember that it's really easy to interrupt people when you're speaking over a microphone, or when you're in a team chat like that. It's very easy to do so. So try to keep your communication brief, or open yourself. Wait for an opening in the conversation. If you're in the middle of a gunfight, fine. Obviously, you can interrupt each other. You need to get that information now. Next, try to learn how to condense your information. I hear a lot of call-outs that are way too long, and by the time you've heard everything they have to say, you've been killed by what they were trying to warn you against. So, things like shotgun on point B. Okay, it doesn't tell them that it's a hunter or whatever, but it tells you got killed, there was a shotgun there, they know where it is, fine. Blade Barrage on point C. Heavy is up in 5. Things like this to let the team know what's happening. Next, be honest. If you're playing with a group of people and they do something that upsets you or whatever, be honest. But remember that people can misinterpret things. So just calm down and say, hey, I didn't really like this. I had that the other day. I had a player who everything he did was complaining about the game, and I said, that kind of toxicity is not really helping me win games, dude. Let's calm it down. Let's take a breath. So anyway, this is going to be the second last video in my competitive series, at least for a while. The next video we make is either going to be jubilant, as I have the Luna's Howl, or calmly dejected, as I say why I don't have it. Anyway, wish me luck, Guardians. Thank you very much for watching and listening. I hope that your competitive Crucible experience has been going well. If I see you out there on the Xbox, Kaz PhD, give me a wave, send me a message, and I'll see you all next time. Thanks for watching. Bye now.